There's lots of cool stories in genetics, and here's one of them. Multiple genes or alleles, same thing. In this case, none of them are really dominant, okay? So we have codominance. What am I talking about? Okay, blood groups. Blood has protein markers. Okay, we don't think about it, but these markers keep us safe. If something attacks our body, we call it non-self. Our blood is going to agglutinate because these proteins or polysaccharides. It's going to clump and possibly save our life. So it's an important process. The specifics here, okay, don't get overwhelmed because it's really kind of simple. If you have A blood, it's covered in A markers. B is covered in B markers. AB has B and A markers. O has nothing. Well, honestly, there's lots of surface proteins. I'm just talking about a few of them. Now, A is going to attack B, antibodies. It's going to have antibodies that destroy B blood. B is going to destroy A. AB is not going to destroy anybody. And then O doesn't like anyone else. Okay, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, think about this. Okay, you're in the desert. Maybe you cut yourself. You're bleeding to death. Along comes someone on a camel. And they're going to transfuse blood. They have a little tube. They say, Nino weighs a whose idea, Weiwei. I can help you. Well, what type of blood do you hope you have? Because this person has no idea what type of blood they have. Any ideas? Okay, think about this. I'll give it away. AB. Because AB recognizes everybody. Hey, I have A blood. I have B markers. I have no markers. So if you have AB blood, then you can tell this guy, hey, go for it, man. My blood, it recognizes everybody. A, B, B, A, and O. Now, in reality, it's not quite this way because in the hospital, if someone comes in and we need to transfuse blood, we do an agglutination test. And we find out. I mean, even if they say, oh, yeah, I have AB blood, we don't trust them. Right? We don't want to kill them. So we do agglutination tests and we determine, okay, that's agglutination right there. That's going to kill them. This is a happy blood serum right there. All right, so you can see how it's important. And the genotype influences the phenotype. So the genes influence the expression. A, B, AB, or O. The reason we have I just means there's no marker. So it might just have an A and a nothing. All right. Now, the importance of this I mentioned is because you might think, well, isn't this insane? Why our body attacks everything? And there's a reason, because we don't want invaders just living in our bodies. Right? If something foreign enters our body, we're going to attack it. We're going to destroy it. We have these antibodies. We're going to mark it for destruction. And so the blood groups, yeah, there's agglutination happening. See that clumping? Clumping helps us destroy invaders. Okay, here's some, looks like COVID viruses coming in. And those are red blood cells, and they're going to clump and destroy the invaders. All right, so I just want you to realize there's a purpose behind this these blood groups. I went ahead and drew it because if I draw it, I can understand it better. There's A, AB, B blood, O blood. I mentioned how AB is a good recipient. It recognizes everybody. O is the best donor, though, because it doesn't have those markers. In emergencies, all right. In emergencies. Look at the abundance of blood. If you have AB positive, negative, or B, you are rare, right? And hospitals love to contact you and ask you to donate blood because there's a big need for these blood groups. Whereas if you are O positive, A positive, that's a fairly common blood type. Even if you grew up in Jamaica, the blood groups are fairly consistent. There's some variation, but it's interesting how populations all over the world are fairly similar in this. Incomplete dominance. No dominant allele or gene. Flower color. Okay, flowers are just one example. There's many others, but let's look at this. A red flower has this kind of genotype, A1A1. White has A2A2. Pink has A1A2. So there's your intermediate. So what if we cross a pink with a pink flower? A1, A2, A1, okay, think about, yeah, okay, so there's a pink. If this egg goes with this pollen, that's a white, that's a red, so we get two pinks. Alright, so you get the idea. Intermediates form. Now, it's not always this way because you have codominance that I just talked about. Polygenic, okay, look at that word. Poly, many. Many genes. Several genes combine to produce a phenotype. Phenotype is expression. Okay, the genes are the genes. Expression is how they are, you can see them, the effect of them. Get an eye color, right? So let's take a look at this. If your ancestors grew up in the far north, where there's not much sunlight, then you need to have recessive traits for melanin, that brown pigment, because you need to absorb that little bit of vitamin D that's coming down from the sun for your bones, your hair, your nails. If your ancestors grew up sort of midway, Asia, Spain, then you have moderate levels of melanin. If your ancestors were in the equatorial region where sun is intense, their sun is so damaging that you want lots of melanin. There's that word again, melanin. Brown pigment. But it's all coded basically by 3 genes. So, I know we look different, but genetically, we're pretty similar. It's kind of interesting. It's like a perfect model. We're all built with this similar, instructional plans. Okay, sex linked. It has that title, sex. It looks interesting, but it just deals with the X and Y. Okay, we have lots of chromosomes, 23, but we have a pair of sex chromosomes. And if you're a man, this is what you have, XY. Women have XX. Now, there's a problem here because if there's a recessive mutation, then we're in trouble. I'll show you why. Sometimes it helps just to see it. And I drew these out. So here's a male. If this, and I made a little code here. If you have sensitivity for dihydrotestosterone, basically a type of testosterone, then if you have that gene, you're going to go bald. Right? That's the way it is, man. Because you don't have a backup. If a woman has that gene, look at, she has an insurance plan. Because the dominant gene on the X chromosome is going to protect her. So she won't go bald. But she may transmit this gene to her male children one day. Alright. So there you have for baldness. It's not our fault. Speaking of hair, let's look at the cycling, okay, just so we can understand what's going on. Anagen, 3 to 6 years, and then it cycles into the catagen, lasts a couple weeks. And look at its blood supply is being cut off, okay, so this follicle is going to eventually die, and the telogen is going to be sloughed off 5 to 6 weeks, and then the process continues again. As we go bald, though, this hair shaft is going to get thinner and thinner and thinner. Most topical, that means on the skin, treatments don't work. Because look how deep the follicle is, okay? How are you going to get a skin product all the way in down here unless you inject it? But irritating chemicals, what they do is like minoxidil and ethylene and Even some people use cayenne. I mean, I'm not telling you to do these things, but people irritate their epidermis, and sometimes it increases the blood flow, and it may suppress hair loss a little bit. Okay, there's big money being made in this area of the world, so it is important. Another sex-linked trait. Another way that men kind of get a bad deal. We have red-green color deficiency. It's pretty common in men. The cone cells are for color, rods are for black and white vision. And there's not a lot of cone cells in a way. They're kind of in one area called the macula luta. Now, let's say a woman with normal vision carries the gene for red-green color deficiency. She marries a man with normal vision. Okay, so a man with normal vision, we know that he has a dominant good gene. Color vision is controlled by X. Okay, so how do we set this problem up? Let me think about this for a minute. All right. Men need only one recessive gene. Let's look back at this again. Normal vision carries the gene. Okay, so that means she's got one normal and one recessive. Okay, women do get blue-yellow color blindness, so it is possible to be colorblind as a woman. Ooh, can you read this number? You guys out there? Okay. All right, let's see how we would set this problem up. So, here's the man, because there's the Y, right? Remember? Little teeny Y. Nothing on the Y for color vision. He's normal, okay? He has great vision. The woman has great vision, but she carries the trait. So if this egg of the female matches with this sperm during fertilization, that daughter, XX, normal vision. This daughter, normal vision. But she carries the trait just like her mom. Let's see about the boys, okay? If this X from the female matches with a Y, normal vision, right? Oh, this son is going to be colorblind. All right? And it has a deal I mentioned with the retina, the rods and cones back here. Not a serious deficiency, but it's one example of the many that men suffer from. Thanks for listening.